I actually can't believe that I'm sitting down to do this, but I cannot express to you how excited I actually am. Hey everyone, it's Mads. Welcome to my brand new podcast, Lowkey Adulting. This has been in the works for so long. I cannot tell you how much planning has gone into this. A couple of weeks ago, I was literally sitting on a sunbed on holiday with my boyfriend, and I was like, do you know what? I'm actually going to design the podcast front cover. And I did it all sitting on my sunbed. I came home, I tweaked it on my laptop, and now I'm so happy to be finally sitting down and talking about this new podcast. If you've just randomly stumbled across this podcast, then hi, welcome, I'm Mads. Thank you so much for joining us. Nothing is off limits, which is why I'm so excited for this, because I feel like there aren't a lot of spaces like this on the internet. Everything is very filtered down to what certain creators want you to see and hear, but this is a space where we are going to be talking about anything and everything. Anything goes. If you follow me over on TikTok, you'll know that I post quite a lot about life in my 20s. I talk very openly about basically everything that goes on in my life. I'm quite a big oversharer, but it felt like the right moment to bring those unfiltered conversations over to a podcast so that I can talk about everything in long form. If you're watching this on YouTube, which I would highly recommend you do, you'll see that everything is very cozy. I just want this to feel like a sit down chat with your friend. That was my ultimate goal for this. I wanted to have real, relatable, raw conversations. I want people to come to this podcast every week and feel like they're taking something away from it. And I just felt like this sort of environment where everything feels very cozy would be the best way to do it. As we all know, adulthood is ever-changing, very confusing, very messy, and I'm sat here quite a lot of the time thinking, am I even doing this right? Like, why did nobody write a guide to adulthood and how you tackle it? Am I behind? Why is everyone else doing these things and I'm just sat at home doing nothing? Am I doing adulthood right? This podcast is to tell you that you are not alone. Everyone has those moments, no matter what you see on social media or how someone portrays their life on social media. Everyone has moments, just like you and me. I'm 22 years old. Some people have been to uni. I dropped out of uni after 6 weeks, which I'm going to do a whole episode on, so make sure to come back for that one. I moved out of my home and moved to Bristol for 6 weeks and came back, and I've been living at home ever since. Some of my friends have moved out and are now living their best life in a city, going out partying at the weekends whilst also holding down a job. Like, yeah, I have a job, but I'm just living at home. Am I behind? Is this what I'm actually meant to be doing? Should I have moved out? Why is there not a guidebook to tell me all of this? But these are the sort of conversations that I want to have openly on this podcast to make people feel like they're not alone. I have planned out so many episodes. There are going to be some very special guests along the way. So there are going to be solo episodes, but I'm also going to be joined with some other people. Stay tuned. I'm very excited. But if there are any specific topics that you want me to cover on this podcast, then you can drop me a DM at Lowkey Adulting Pod on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'll also leave the podcast email address in the description. So any way that you want to contact me to send me your content ideas, anything that you want to see, all of the information will be down below. But I thought that I would just give you a little bit of an intro to this podcast and who I am, because I guess some people might have just stumbled across this and have never seen me in their life before, so it's kind of a good opportunity to introduce myself and let you get to know me a little bit better. So as I said, I'm Mads, I'm 22 years old. I live in Sussex in England, about half an hour, 40 minutes away from Brighton, so not far from the coast. I work full-time in influencer marketing, which I absolutely love. So basically all of those influencer ads that you see on social media, all of your favourite creators talking about different products, I am the middleman between the creator and the brand. I absolutely love what I do. It's honestly the most fun job, and it's something that I kind of fell into because it's not anything that I went to uni to study. I actually went to uni to study filmmaking. Make it make sense. And when I left after 6 weeks, I very quickly realized that like that whole industry is just not what I wanted to do. So I was like brainstorming what I kind of saw myself doing. And I basically realized very, very quickly that social media is such a massive passion of mine. I've been creating content on social media since I was 11. That's 11 years. That is honestly ridiculous. I can't even believe that those words have just come out of my mouth. I was posting YouTube videos in like year 8, talking about my school life and trying to be the next Zoe Sugg. Obviously that did not happen, but nonetheless, I have always loved filming, editing, posting, anything to do with like social media and marketing. I just absolutely love and always have. So after I dropped out of uni, I got an internship at like an influencer and PR agency. And I was like an influencer assistant, I guess. So I did that for about 4 or 5 months and then started to look for a full-time job. And in April 2022, I started my first full-time job, and I actually still work at that company now, which is like insane. So I started as an influencer account assistant, then got promoted to an account executive, and now I am a junior account manager. So I'm slowly making my way up. As I said, I just love all things social media, and don't worry, we're going to be covering a lot about social media in this podcast. A few low-key not adulting moments that I feel like are necessary to share with you to prove that we do not all have it figured out. You do not have to conform to all of the stereotypes that you see on social media. I'm 22 years old and I do not have my driver's license. I started to learn to drive in a manual when I was 17. I could not for the life of me get on board with it. It was mainly like parking and reversing that I just like could not get my head around. So I very quickly realised it was not the right time for me to start learning to drive. I think when I turned 18 and when I like left uni and came back home, I started to learn again, and also very quickly gave that up because again it just wasn't the right time. And then late last year I met my boyfriend. He lives down by the coast. He is about 50-ish minutes away from me, and I kind of just got to the point where I was like, look, at the time I was 21 and I was like, I need to learn how to drive. I can't just expect him to come and see me all the time. I need to make sure that I can get to him without going on the train and being on there for like an hour and a half. Like I just need to be able to easily get to him. So in about March this year, I started to learn again, but I've started doing it in an automatic because I was like, I just need to drive. At this point, I don't really care for a manual car. I just need to learn to drive. And as I am recording this, my driving test is in about 2-3 weeks. Oh my God. Am I going to pass? I don't know. Probably not. I spoke to my instructor and I was like, what are the chances of me passing first time? Like, I feel like I'm a semi-good / decent driver. I was like, I know that on the day, like, nerves are potentially going to get the better of me. And she was like, honestly, not a lot of people pass first time. So I was like, fine. As long as like I have that in the very, very back of my mind and like I don't put too much pressure on myself, I think I'll be okay if I don't pass. But also like I really, really want to pass because I'm also at that sort of point where I'm like, yeah, I just need the freedom of being able to drive myself. But now was kind of the first time that actually felt like the right time to be driving. So that's my first kind of low-key not adulting moment, but also like kind of low-key adulting because hello, I have my driver's test. Like, go me. I'm excited to be able to drive at some point. We have to pass before the end of the year, right? Like, we can't go into 2026 and like not be driving. Like, that's something that I need to have in my mind. Also, sorry if my voice goes a bit funny during this episode. I am overcoming an illness. My other kind of low-key not adulting moment is the fact that I still live at home, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But this is what I mean about the stereotypes that we feel that we have to conform to. So many of my friends do not live at home and either live with their partner or they live with their friends. I feel like the transition of moving out is easier once you've done like a full 3 years at uni, because you've basically done 3 years where you are not living at home. So I can imagine that like once you finish uni and you come home, you're instantly like, yeah, I need to move out again. But I just never really had that. Like, I love being at home. I'm so close to my parents and my family. I'm like one of the world's biggest introverts, so I just love my own company and staying at home, not doing a lot. I love cozy days in with my boyfriend, and being here is just comfortable and it's a form of comfort. And I think that's why I'm like, I really, really want to move out because I want to live with my boyfriend, obviously. But I have been in this house for like over half my life and it would just feel weird to move out. And like, I know that this will always be like my home, but I also want to build a new home. When I say like build a new home, I don't mean like physically build a new home. I mean like I want to create a new home environment with my boyfriend. Does that make sense? I'm not talking about like me with like a hammer and cement and all that, like putting bricks together. That isn't what I mean. I would not trust myself to assemble like a chair, let alone build a fucking house. But I feel like one of my low-key adulting moments is also like, I have been in a job that I absolutely love, and I have been earning money for myself and paying into a pension since I was 18. Like, I'm so proud of myself. I feel like that's actually a really big achievement. Like, to say I'm 22 and I've been like paying into my pension and like working a full-time job that I absolutely love from the age of 18. I'm not saying that like if you haven't done that makes you like any less of an adult, because obviously everyone has like their own path. I just feel like I was very lucky that I fell into a job that I absolutely loved like quite quickly into like adulthood. I'm actually so grateful that uni didn't work out for me, because if I stayed at uni, there would be just like everything would be so different. I know that I wouldn't have the job that I have right now. I wouldn't be with my boyfriend. Life would be so different. Like, who would I be if I stayed at uni? That's actually scary. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't like going out and going to parties or anything like that. Like, who would I have been if I stayed at uni? I went clubbing like twice whilst I was there in Bristol, and it was just not for me. But like, if I stayed and I persevered with everything, like, would I have gone out? Like, I don't know, who would I be? It's actually quite scary to think about like how different life would be if I stayed at uni. But like, honestly, I'm so beyond grateful that things have gone the way that they have. I love my job. I love where I'm at right now. Everything is just finally feeling right. And I feel like it's taken me so long to get to this point. But if you have ever questioned if you are doing life right, you are definitely in the right place. Welcome to the Lowkey Adulting podcast. This space is about figuring out adulthood together and having those conversations that are sometimes a little bit difficult to have, but they are conversations that need to be had, if that makes sense. I don't want to ramble on for so long with this episode. I just wanted it to be a little bit of an introduction to me, an introduction to the podcast, what you can expect. And if you're wondering, are you even doing adulthood right? I can assure you that you are, because you are on your own path into adulthood. Nobody can sit and tell you the way that you need to do your life. And I think that is what I really want to stress with this podcast. Don't let anyone make you feel that you're not in the right place, or you're not doing things that you're meant to be doing at your age or anything like that. Everyone has their own path in life. Do not let anybody else dictate that. It is your life, and that is all that matters. I think I'm going to wrap this episode up, but thank you so much for joining me on this first episode of the brand new podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you feel seen and you feel some form of comfort when listening to the things that I'm saying about adulthood. Make sure to subscribe for new episodes. If you are listening to this and you're not watching over on YouTube, I definitely recommend that you go and do so. Make sure to go and drop me a follow over on Instagram and TikTok at Lowkey Adulting Pod. We're going to be posting lots of fun content over there as well. And you can join me every single week on this podcast at 8 a.m. on a Monday. But thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you very soon with a brand new episode. Bye for now.